Welcome back to Investigate Joe Rogan. Normally I investigate specific episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience, but today I thought I would take a look at something that is within the Rogan-verse that people have asked me to look into, and that is the supplement/fitness company Onnit. In case you are somehow unaware, Rogan has been advertising and personally advocating Onnit products for forever on the podcast. And today I'll be looking at 5 Onnit products and evaluating whether or not they are snake oil, basically. I will start off with the most famous Onnit product, which is Alpha Brain. And the first thing that should be noted is that for every claim made about any product on the Onnit website, this goes for all products, not just Alpha Brain, they put a little asterisk. Well, they don't really put an asterisk. What they put is a little cross, which serves as an asterisk. And I think they did this because they know that having an actual asterisk next to everything looks really bad. And they thought, well, if it's a cross, people might not think of it the same way as an asterisk, or maybe it's just not as bad visually. Maybe people will just think we're, a nice Christian website or something. And I mean, in like papers and things, I think normally you start off with asterisk and then you go to like the double asterisk and then you jump to a cross or something when you run out. I don't think you usually start with the cross, but they just jump right to it. But anyway, what the cross is for, when you scroll down, is these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. So you gotta keep that in mind when you think about this stuff, because supplements and nootropics and whatever are not evaluated by the FDA. It says of Alpha Brain on the Onnit website that it is a dietary supplement that helps support cognitive functions, including memory, mental speed, and focus. They list the benefits as supporting memory, promoting focus, and aiding mental processing. It also helps with flow state, in parentheses, the feeling of being in the zone. Very scientific language, of course. And there are pictures of people riding bikes, cutting hair, cooking, and playing Smash 4. Which weirdly, I think Smash 4 is actually the thing that makes the most sense. You'd need reaction times and things, because it's like a video game. But you probably, you don't need that much mental speed and focus to ride a bike, do you? But whatever. They go on to explain, quote, psychologists call that feeling of being in the zone flow state the optimal level of consciousness where you can perform at your best. I'm going to stop right there for a minute. That sentence is like really bizarre. I don't even know how to read it aloud in a way that it makes sense to emphasize what part. Whatever. Psychologists call that feeling of being in the zone flow state the optimal level of consciousness where you can perform at your best. To get there, your brain starts producing more alpha waves, which are associated with greater creativity and productivity. As a result, you're able to tune out distractions, think clearly, and accomplish tasks. So essentially what they're saying is that you take this pill, and it will produce more alpha waves in your brain that will lead to all these positive mental effects. However, this is not what alpha waves are. It's just not. A UC Davis study actually found that alpha waves are a good predictor of mistakes, the exact opposite of what Alpha Brain supposedly does. They had test subjects performed this very boring task where they sat down at a computer and then a number would appear on the screen. And they had to push a button if it was any number except for 5. It kind of sounds like something that would be on the Brain Age game, like for the DS. So basically the idea was that you had to focus because these numbers were like rapidly coming on the screen. And if you like spaced out and just pushed the button on instinct, oh no, it was a 5, and now like that's an error. So you had to like stay focused and watch for 5s. But of course, like nobody can do it perfectly, so sometimes they would mess up. Nobody can get a perfect score on Brain Age. So, to quote the study, by analyzing the recorded MEG data, the research team found that about a second before these errors were committed, brainwaves in 2 regions were stronger than when the subjects correctly refrained from hitting the button. In the back of the head, the occipital region, alpha wave activity was about 25% stronger, and in the middle region, the sensory motor cortex, there was a corresponding increase in the brain's mu wave activity. They go on to explain that, quote, the alpha and mu rhythms are what happen when the brain runs on idle. So again, alpha waves do the exact opposite of what Onnit says they do. They do not improve focus. When there are lots of alpha brains, you are actually more likely to make mental mistakes, not react properly, and space out. This study actually goes on to say that they did this research so that they could possibly put this information to use in jobs where you really cannot make mistakes. For instance, you could hook up an air traffic controller to something that measured alpha waves, and then when his alpha waves went up, something could appear on his screen that said, oh, pay attention, you're spacing out, so that he wouldn't make mistakes. So let's say that alpha brain can do what it says it claims to be able to do. Let's say alpha brain can give you more alpha waves. This would be a bad thing. If it works as intended, it will actually make you less effective at whatever task you're trying to do. You don't want alpha waves when you're trying to play Smash 4 or when you're trying to cut people's hair. So a 90 pill bottle of Alpha Brain is $68, which means that if you took the recommended dosage of 2 pills a day, it would cost $80 a month to take these things. That is expensive. Even if it did do something, that would be expensive. There is also Alpha Brain Instant Edition, which is a powder you mix with water instead of a pill. Supposedly so that it will act faster, and you can get those alpha waves even faster. Maybe in the future they'll make like something that you can take intravenously. You just inject it right in, and then you can you can space out immediately. I would buy that. The next one I'll talk about is Shroom Tech Sport Edition. There are 2 versions of Shroom Tech. There's the sport version and there's the immune version. But I'll talk about the sport one first. It also has the, cross asterisk disclaimer for everything. The sport version is, quote, designed to help the body with cellular energy and cardiovascular endurance. Benefits include boosting exercise volume, assisting aerobic performance, and helping the body with cellular energy. There's pictures of women doing ballet, people running, Joe Rogan working out. And there is a study for this called Effects of Shroom Tech Sport Supplementation and Concurrent Training, which was sponsored by Florida State University. And they link to it on the Onnit website. And they talk about how it supposedly shows that Shroom Tech helps you with athletic training and cardio and stuff. However, on clinicaltrials.gov, you cannot view the results of this study. it says, quote, results information has been submitted to clinicaltrials.gov by the sponsor or investigator, but is not yet publicly available or posted on clinicaltrials.gov. The submitted information may not be available if it is pending quality control, review by the National Library of Medicine, or if issues identified during QC review are being addressed or corrected by the sponsor or investigator. National Library of Medicine's limited QC review assesses for apparent errors, deficiencies, or inconsistencies. National Library of Medicine staff do not verify the scientific validity or relevance of the submitted information. Obviously, this is pretty suspicious. They do not mention this on the Onnit website. Possibly this study has errors, deficiencies, or inconsistencies. I don't know, maybe it's being held up for some other reason, but from what I can tell, it may not be a valid study because it can't be posted. However, they do link to some other studies for the individual ingredients of ShroomTech Sport Edition, and these are more legit. Rhodiola, which is one of the ingredients, really does seem to do something. The study they link to is real, and it concludes that acute Rhodiola rosea intake can improve endurance exercise capacity in young, healthy volunteers. Another ingredient they link studies to is Cordyceps sinensis, which is a fungus. But the study, if you follow the actual link, the study is for Cordyceps militaris, which is a different species of fungus. So this was either an intentional lie, or they just mixed up their mushrooms on accident. They read the study wrong or something. As far as mixing up mushrooms go, there are a lot worse things that can happen to you than linking a wrong study, you know? But I couldn't find anything for their fungus. There's also ashwagandha, which is legit. The study they reference concludes that ashwagandha improved the cardiorespiratory endurance of the elite athletes. So ashwagandha is pretty legit. Some of you have probably heard of ashwagandha before because it's more famous. And there's also B12 in this stuff for some reason. And B12 is real. You do need B12. However, there are way cheaper ways of getting B12, as I explained in my episode on James Wilkes and Chris Kresser. There's also green tea extract, which also seems to have legitimate athletic benefits. So several of the ingredients in isolation really do seem to do things that could help athletic performance somewhat. I mean, none of it is like huge steroid level boosts, but it does something. And it's $56 for 84 pills. So if you take the recommended 4 pills before your workout, that's only $228 per workout. So say you work out 3 times a week, it's pretty normal. That's only $27 a month, which is a lot cheaper than Alpha Brain, for instance. So is this worth it? I don't know, maybe if you're like a hardcore endurance athlete who does cardio all the time and you're, in competitions and things and you feel you've hit some sort of plateau, I don't know, it could be worth it. You're not like just throwing money away. They sort of try and mislead you though by saying that you could take it, quote, for occasional energy support. This is what they say on the Onnit website. And that is actually nonsense. There's no study or anything that shows you should just take this stuff when you're sitting at a desk or something. There's no point to this stuff if you're not running or exercising. Maybe the real best thing to do would just be to take ashwagandha by itself. Skip the other ingredients, the fungus or whatever. Because there's other like real studies for ashwagandha about how it could be stress reducing and it could actually boost test as well. So maybe just buy ashwagandha. But this ShroomTech Sport version is not pure snake oil. But what about ShroomTech Immune version? you ask? Now, the listed benefits of ShroomTech Immune are that it helps stimulate adaptive immune responses, supports cellular integrity, and aids immune system defenses. Now, how does it do all of these things, you ask? Well, according to Onnit's website, when your system is under attack, the integrity of your cells is the first thing that gets tested. 2 ingredient blends, the Onnit Myco-Immune Blend and Nutri-Immune Blend, work to support the immune system and maintain cell structure to help keep the wrong things from getting in and making you feel bad. Very scientific language, once again. They don't even try to put any studies or anything for the immune version, because there aren't any. But you don't have to be like president of Johns Hopkins to understand that this is nonsense. Because if Onnit had a real way to make your cells so strong that viruses could not get in, they would be trillionaires. They would probably be the most powerful company on earth. They could cure coronavirus. It would be amazing. But of course, they don't even claim that they can do this because it would be illegal. So the asterisk literally says, these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So what does this mean? Well, the common cold is a disease, as is the flu. They are viral diseases. And they have to admit that they cannot prevent any disease. They cannot make your cells so strong and powerful that viruses cannot get in. So this cannot prevent you from getting sick. Legally, they have to admit on their own website that this does absolutely nothing. Nobody should buy this. It is $48 for 90 pills, and you're supposed to take 2 a day. So it would be $30 a month. That really isn't that much, but it's a lot for nothing. You can get the exact same level of cellular integrity for free by doing nothing. There's also total gut health, which I feel is referenced more often on JRE than ShroomTech. And the benefits of total gut health are that it, quote, helps break down food and absorb nutrients, aids in immune system support, helps promote healthy gut flora, and assists with the digestion of major macronutrients. And there's a picture of this blonde female model being hot at an outdoor table at a restaurant, and she is just chomping into this little plastic bag of total gut health. And it just comes off as very strange because clearly what they are trying to do is portray this as normal human behavior. But everyone knows that it just isn't. So this picture just comes off as being really bizarre. You know, if you were actually eating with someone at a restaurant and they suddenly took out this big plastic packet and told you that they had to eat this because Rogan said it would help their gut, you'd think they were a weirdo or something. There are no studies or anything, but there is an endorsement from Dr. Dan Engel. Who is Dr. Dan Engel, you ask? Well, according to his website, Dr. Dan Engel lectures and consults globally and is the medical director of Kuya Institute for Transformational Medicine and consultant to Onnit Labs, the True Rest Float Centers, and several international treatment centers using indigenous plant medicines for healing and recovery. From what I can tell, the Kuya Institute for Transformational Medicine no longer exists. I cannot find anything about it online. Possibly it never existed to begin with. The True Rest Float Centers are just a flotation tank business. The Rogan connection is obvious here. And he's also written a book about concussions and all this stuff about indigenous plant medicine that you should take, instead of doctors or whatever. He's a quack, essentially, is what I'm saying. And this is their only endorsement that I could find. The Onnit website says, quote, "You can't eat perfectly all the time. Whether you're enjoying the occasional binge on pizza, fried foods, and other indulgences, or traveling abroad where food safety is uncertain, you shouldn't be punished by feeling gassy, bloated, and tired for a day afterward. Supplementing with the right ingredients can help let the air out of your belly and keep you regular, so you can eat every meal worry-free. It takes seconds to tear open a total gut health packet, and minutes for the ingredients to start working. Use it every time you sit down to eat." First of all, I like that they just say traveling abroad where food safety is uncertain, which seems to imply that if you leave America, there's no way of knowing what you're eating. If you go to, say, Canada, you better watch out. You better watch what you put in your mouth. I also like that they pretty much admit that the actual solution here is to stop eating these foods that make you feel so terrible. And I mean, if you talk to anyone who has these sorts of problems, this is like always the thing that actually fixed it. Their story is always like, yeah, I used to feel really like awful all the time, and then I stopped drinking milk. It's always something like that. But, what does all of this really mean? What is total gut health? It's a probiotic, is what it is. And so the question is, should you take probiotics? Well, to quote Harvard Medical, probiotics are commonly used to reduce gastrointestinal symptoms that are not due to acute illness, such as gas, bloating, and constipation. But we need more studies to determine who will get symptom improvement, particularly in older people. They also say, another concern about probiotics is that they're considered dietary supplements, not drugs. As a result, the FDA doesn't monitor the manufacture of probiotics. It's not clear if probiotics that can be bought at pharmacies and health food stores, and on Onnit.com, I'm adding this, are high-quality products. It's even possible that some lower-quality products may not even contain the probiotic bacteria that are listed on the label. So basically what they're saying is that this stuff isn't regulated by the FDA, and you really don't know what the heck is in it. If you have some sort of digestion issue, and you're into holistic natural medicine, just like Dr. Dan Engel and Onnit seems to be, the real, natural solution is to just eat some yogurt. Harvard Medical says it's the same thing. It's the same probiotics. You're just getting them from eating food instead of taking a pill. So, I'm not a doctor, but from reading this stuff, I would say that's the thing you should try. Just try eating some yogurt. And then what you should really do is ask your doctor, like, I'm having these problems. What should I do? I can pretty much guarantee you that no doctor is going to say, oh, you're having bloating and constipation. What you should do is head on over to Onnit.com and buy some total gut health. That'll cure you right up, bro. I can guarantee you this has never happened in any, doctor's office in the country. It's $76 for 15 packets. So if you took one packet with your largest meal of the day, like they recommend, instead of just randomly eating one whenever you eat pizza, that would be $150 a month. Really, you should just try eating yogurt or something. This is nonsense. It's even more expensive than Alpha Brain. And it doesn't even have a cool name like Alpha Brain. So I really don't think anyone should buy this stuff. The last thing I will get into is krill oil. I mostly wanted to talk about this because I like the name krill oil. I just think it sounds cool. And what this is it's omega-3 pills. It is an omega-3 supplement. And omega-3 supplements are legit. Apparently, doctors say that it would be better to just eat fish and get omega-3s that way. But if you don't like to eat fish, or you just don't for whatever reason, then there could be actual benefits to taking omega-3 pills, especially if you're black for some reason. From what I read on Harvard Medical, they don't know why exactly this is, but black people really benefit from this. So if you're a black person who never eats fish, this is the supplement for you. It's time to take the fish pill. But should you take Onnit krill oil in particular? It is $30 for 60 pills, and they recommend taking 2 a day, which is kind of a trick because each krill oil pill is over 1 gram, and doctors say you really only need 1 gram a day. That's what Harvard says. But anyway, it would be $15 a month to take these things, which doesn't really seem that expensive. But if you just bought normal omega-3 fish pill supplements that aren't special Rogan approved krill supplements, you could get this stuff for $2 a month. If you just go to a store or look around on Amazon, and it's all the same stuff anyway. So krill oil is not snake oil. It's krill oil. But it is way overpriced for what it is. So to wrap up here, Alpha Brain, Shroom Tech Immune, and Total Gut Health are nonsense, basically snake oil. But Shroom Tech Sport and krill oil are fairly legitimate. These are the most famous Onnit products that I think are the most frequently referenced on JRE. But in the next episode, I will cover some of their other products and look into Onnit itself, as well as the founder of Onnit. Thank you for listening to this special investigation, a very special episode of Investigate Joe Rogan.